Hey guys, Ardi here, and today I'm going to show you how to change caliper seals on a GT3 car.
So these are all the tools that we're going to need. So the first step will be to empty the brake fluid from the car. These are the front and rear axle brake reservoirs. So we can start with opening the front one. Just be careful not to spill anything. We can put it on our tray so we don't make a mess. Then the rear. So here's the rear. Oh. Let's remove it slowly. All right. Then we grab our tool to suck the brake fluid out. I don't know how you call this. I don't know if it's got a specific name. So now that the brake fluid is removed, we just cover these so we don't get anything that it's not supposed to be in there. And then we go to the next step, which is going to be to remove the brake fluid directly from the brake calipers. So once the fluid is off, it is completely empty, and close our nipple, remove our sucking machine. And the next step will be to remove the brakes. So let's do that. Remove this. Remove the caliper bridge. These are two very long screws. Caliper bridge is removed. Open the spring that holds the pads. Push the pads out. Take the disc off. And that's pretty much it. Then we can remove or loosen the brake caliper. It has two K-nuts. First and second one. And then before we remove it, we're gonna have to remove the banjo bolt that is on the back of the caliper that connects to the brake line. And then we can take the caliper off the car. Now that the banjo is off, the brake line is free from the caliper, and we can remove the caliper. Now that we have the caliper out of the car, what we need to do is to get all the pistons out. So the way that we do it, or that I do it, is we have a really old brake disc that we cut with some additional silicone pad or whatever you want to call it. Put it inside of the brake caliper. And then, with the help of a microfiber towel, on the hole where you would put the brake line with the banjo, exactly here, we blow with air and you will see the pistons coming out. So, and the microfiber towel helps just to make a bit of a seal, so that we can put air in it. And as you can see, all the pistons are slowly coming out. Once all the pistons are out, the next step will be to remove the caliper seals, obviously. So we'll go with our screwdriver and pull them out one by one, being very careful not to scratch the inside surface of the caliper. And these are very easy to remove. So that's 3. Now the other 3. Now I do realize that this is probably not going to show up very well on camera, but so that's all 6 seals. So once we have all the seals out, the next step will be to clean the caliper and to clean the pistons. Make sure we check them for any damage, any scratches, because if there's anything on them, we're gonna have to change them for new ones. And after that, once everything is clean and checked, we're gonna put the new brake seals in. The brake seals, they need to be conditioned, so they need to be submerged in brake fluid for 24 hours before we mount them. Once they're out, we can proceed to the cleaning. So I'm gonna put the caliper aside for the moment. I'm gonna start with the brake pistons. So what I like to do first is to start with a microfiber towel, just dry them. And then after that, we can use either brake cleaner or industrial cleaner to clean them. And we will inspect them properly to see if there are any scratches or marks, and if everything is okay, after we clean them we can install them back on the caliper. So let's spray a little bit of industrial cleaner on a microfiber towel, and then we can clean the piston really well. It's going to remove all kinds of rubber and dirt that normally you wouldn't be able to remove because this dissolves rubber. And we make sure that both the inside and the outside are clean. So this is pretty much it. This is a clean brake piston. I don't see any damage or scratches, and I don't feel them. So this is good to go. Then we're going to repeat the process 5 more times for all of them. And once everything is clean, we're going to clean the caliper. Once all the pistons are clean and the correspective springs, we can put them aside and focus on the caliper itself. Let me take these seals away. Not gonna need them anyway. So let's give this a good clean. So now we have to clean the brake caliper. We have to make sure that everything is clean, all the surfaces on the outside and on the inside, especially the little groove where the caliper seal sits. It needs to be very clean. You cannot leave any dirt or any rubber from the previous seals in there, otherwise we're going to have a leak. So the best way that I find to clean the channels or the grooves where the caliper seal sits is with a microfiber towel. You can do it also with a Q-tip. You just need to make sure that everything in that channel is clean. You don't have any dirt, any rubber from the previous seal, and you're going to be able to see it immediately if it's clean or not. You can use a little bit of brake cleaner or industrial cleaner on your microfiber towel just to help you get rid of the rubber and all the residue from the previous seals. This is going to help to dissolve the rubber and get rid of any dirt in there. And just take your time with this, spend like 5-10 minutes to do it properly, because it's very important, otherwise you're going to have a leak afterwards. Now that everything is clean, the next step will be to check the caliper, and we will have a look if everything is tight. I'm just going to gently lift them up from the liquid. And then they're all marked and they have different sizes, so you cannot go wrong. So for example, this 3, which is the smallest one, then the 2 is going to have it's going to be the medium one, and the number 1 is going to be the biggest one. So you just line them up in the groove, and you have to make sure that they go inside and they are flat. And then, so this is what a good one looks like. Then we can repeat the same process 5 times. Now that all the seals are inside, we can clean the surface a little bit. And then we can proceed to put the pistons in. And the way that we do it is we just make them wet a little bit with the brake fluid, and then we slide them in, and we just pay attention that there is not too much resistance. Otherwise that means that we might have installed one of the seals wrong. So just make it wet a little bit with some brake fluid, and then we can slide them in. And it should be fairly easy to go in, and that's it. And then we repeat 5 more times like we did for the seals, and we're gonna have our caliper ready. Once everything is installed and we have cleaned the surfaces from the brake fluid, because obviously while installing it's gonna get a bit wet, the next step will be to clean everything properly. So you might think that this is clean, but actually there will be a little bit of brake fluid in between the piston and the outside surface of the seal, and we don't want that. Why we don't want that? Because the first time that we're gonna run the car, on the first heat cycle, all this brake fluid that is on the outside is gonna drip and is gonna make a mess, and we're gonna think that we have a defective seal or we have a leak or something. So the best way to do it, I found out, is with a little bit of water. So it's going to displace all the brake fluid. So we just spray a good amount of water. Just like this. And this is going to help a lot to displace all the brake fluid that is in between the surfaces, and don't worry, it's not going to do anything, it's not going to go inside of the caliper. So once we sprayed with enough water, we're going to use some compressed air, and we're going to help, and that's going to help to take all the water out. So first of all, dry by hand a little bit, and then we're going to blow with the compressed air between the piston and the surface of the caliper. And that's already helping to remove all the brake fluid that was stuck here in between. As you can see, it's wet and it's mostly brake fluid combined with water. So we're gonna go through this process a couple more times until everything is dry and there's nothing coming off, and then the caliper is gonna be ready. After cleaning everything properly, everything is dry and we are ready to put the caliper back in the car. It's exactly the same process, just in reverse. So now we get back to the car and we have to connect the brake line to the caliper with our banjo bolt. New copper washers, obviously. Copper washer, one on each side. And then we start the thread by hand. So once it's started by hand, we can put the brake caliper on the carrier. We align it with the studs. So before we put the nut on the caliper, on the studs, to hold it in place with the carrier, we need to torque the banjo, because otherwise later on we're not going to have access. That's the click. Then we can slide the caliper all the way in. We're going to put new K-nuts. Tight the caliper to the carrier. Once everything is tight, we mark them. That's one. That's two. Now that everything is tight, we can put the brakes back on. So we start with the disc. Then we do the pads. Close this. And we can put this one. And then the final piece will be to put the bridge back on. That's one. And that's two. And that's the second bolt. And we tighten everything. And the job is done. So once all this is done, we're gonna have to put back the brake fluid in the reservoirs, bleed the brakes, and then test and check if everything is fine. So we're gonna have a look for leaks, in case we have any, in case there's a defective caliper seal or something. But that requires a few more people, and I'm alone at the moment. So on this car, to bleed the brakes, you need 3 people, because you need to do front axle and rear axle at the same time. So left to right or right to left. And also you need to do the ABS bleed procedure. And again, I need 3 people for that, plus a computer. So for this video, that's gonna be it. And if you guys are interested to see how we do the brake bleed and how it works with the ABS bleed and everything, just let me know in the comments, and I might be able to show you that.